Sup, guys? Texas Tech absolutely brutal last night. As you guys know, if you're following me, you know I had Texas Tech plus 6.5. This is one of the worst beats I've ever taken. Definitely the worst in recent memory. Like a bad beat for the ages. Texas Tech was covering the spread most of the game, winning the game outright repeatedly during the game. They're winning outright with about 5 minutes left. Oregon got a field goal and was up one with like a minute left, something like that. Texas Tech had the ball around midfield. So at this point, you're thinking they might get a little bit further and get into field goal range for a potential game-winning field goal, and they'll cover the spread and hit on the money line. Everything will be nice and good. Nice play there. All they have to do is not allow a defensive touchdown, because at this point, if they just turn it over on downs or turn the ball over, Oregon gets possession, they'll just run the clock out. And what do? They throw a pick six around midfield and lose by 8. Basically, the only thing that would result in Texas Tech not covering the plus 6.5 at that point is a defensive touchdown, which is incredibly unlikely at that point. They were probably about 99.7% to cover at that point. I've had it happen before a couple of times, but this is absolutely insane. I can't remember it happening in years. This type of shit makes me pull my hair out, man. That's obviously why I'm bald from having to deal with shit like this in the past. The only thing I can take comfort in, I guess, is the fact that Texas Tech was pretty obviously the right play to make in this game, as they should have covered. They were covering the whole game. I think it was the right play, and just we got killed by an epically bad set of circumstances, a fluke, just total bullshit. I hate it. We're going to move on. I got the NFL plays that I put up in my NFL video today, and I'm adding a baseball play, which is what you're here for. I'm going to talk about that right now in this video. I'm going back to the same series I played the other night, Chicago White Sox at Detroit Tigers. In this case, we have a matchup where it's one of those things I like to look at. Detroit Tigers have a starting pitcher making his major league debut, Sawyer Gipson, I believe is his name. He is a tall pitcher, and even though he doesn't have like completely dominant fastball velocity, he's got a lot of good secondary pitches, good off-speed stuff, and he can really fool batters. And like I said, a pitcher that's like a highly touted prospect and definitely has good stuff is a guy who has the edge the first time facing hitters that have never seen him before, and that's the case here. So Sawyer Gipson for Detroit, I think, is in a decent spot here, as he's got decent stuff. Tall presence on the mound, and I think he's going to be able to fool White Sox hitters the first time through the lineup. The White Sox, on the other hand, have Schulten's pitching, and he has pretty bad stats, a really high whip, and his stats against Detroit's hitters are not good, even though the whole lineup hasn't faced him before. But I think the guys that have faced him amount to 20 or 30 at bats against him and a 375 batting average against him. I think this is definitely a pitching mismatch, but I'm also just going to take the full game here, and I'm laying Detroit as the favorite, minus 125. I think it might go up a little bit, and most of the books seem to have the money line higher than that. Because if you look at yesterday's game, even though Detroit did use some of their best relief pitchers, Chicago's starter got knocked out earlier in the game. They had to use more of their bullpen, to the tune of, I think, about 80 pitches, whereas Detroit only used theirs for about 60. So I like this play, but especially because of the starting pitching matchup. Sawyer Gipson for Detroit. Detroit Tigers, minus 125. Let's get it.